stand and have the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to have to do something exciting here, bring in some people. Yeah. Okay, how about approval of the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, anything to, no, we're all set? All right, motions are made and seconded to approve the agenda, all in favor? There's your agenda. Public forum. With public forum, any member or anyone who would like to speak on an item not on the agenda may do so now. There you go, Donna.
I thought I might give you an update on the not yet named Arundel event. We had a meeting, I guess, a week ago Thursday. Had not a lot of people show up, but it was an interesting, very productive group. The Economic Development Committee was well represented. Jen Dumas from the Rec Department and Allison Leary and Lucas Patry from Kate's Butter. And then Rick DeFlom was there as well. Lots of good ideas in terms of what we might do. Terrific enthusiasm in terms of their particular participation. What we did in terms of setup for this was we kind of came up with, I guess, 7 or so categories. In terms of the potential activities, which I will briefly read. Historical items for display, agricultural and animal husbandry, natural history, local plants and animals, anything to do with food, craft, trade, skill demonstrations, local crafts or products for sale, games and contests, which sent Jen just over the edge, both for adults and kids, and then information from local groups. Like if the Boy Scouts of the Little League wanted to set something up, or a business for that matter, that were just informational. So what we're hoping to do is kind of gather some more information between now and June 20th, which is our regular workshop meeting, and then have another meeting reconvening some of those people on getting new ideas. And our basic outline is hopefully by the 20th have a more specific list of things that are going to happen. And then by the time we get into July, really be into the nuts and bolts of making it happen. So we have lots to do and would appreciate any support or suggestions or ideas that you folks could throw our way. But we're hoping it's going to be a huge town, big deal.
And the date is?
Unknown. Well, we talked about, we had thrown out September 14th. And then there was some suggestion that perhaps we push it later in the month to give the school more of an opportunity to get kids involved, because that's a little bit close to the beginning of the school year. So then we kind of looked at the 21st and the 28th, but no matter what date we pick, there's a problem for somebody someplace. I have a feeling we're going to probably end up back at the 14th. But since we have not had a historical society meeting since then, we'll probably make that decision either in the back rooms of the spaghetti supper or on our regular meeting on June 6th. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to give that a shot.
So your next meeting is for this is when?
June 20th.
June 20th, is that here?
Yes.
So
7 o'clock. And obviously we're going to be looking for businesses to participate, well, businesses and individuals to participate in a whole host of ways. We will need, no doubt, prizes and those types of things donated, as well as some cash to work with. The Historical Society is not in a position to pay for this. We're actually hoping to do a little fundraising during the course of the event, so if we can have as much local sponsorship for the various things as possible, that would be terrific. So, but it's a come one, come all kind of deal. But no snow, no hurricanes,
No tornadoes.
no torrential rain.
Well, the torrential rain could work in your favor, as we discussed, with the blockages of Route 111.
Well, yes, if it does shut down 111, that'll stop a traffic problem. But Kate,
Right out by you.
the folks from Kate's Butter were very gracious in offering their site as one of the sites for part of what will be going on. And one of the suggestions that got a lot of approval was a 5K race to start the day, and then a dance up at Kate's Butter, because they have electricity and lights, to end the day. So we just have to fill in the middle and we'll be all set.
Where is this all taking place?
Approximately at the corner of Limerick Road and 111.
Okay, right,
We have the North Chapel Common site, and then Kate's Butter just up the road.
okay.
And then we also have the opportunity, because there's been a couple of suggestions about some antique car and or farm equipment displays. So Suzanne said that perhaps we could also make use of their field where the Blunt House used to be. So we may have a triangular venue in those three sites.
There isn't enough space just at Kate's Butter to put everything on one site?
I don't know the answer to that just yet. And well, from our standpoint as a historical society, we want to draw people to the North Chapel Common site. So that they are, speaking of antique cars, so that people are aware of what it is that's going on there, what we're planning to do. So at the very least, those two sites, and if we need to splash over onto Medora's, that would be okay too.
I'm sorry, I interrupted somebody.
You gonna charge registration fee for the run?
Not my
Yes, you
job.
should.
Not my job. Exactly. No, actually, the way we're hoping to structure this is that the Economic Development Committee were actually the folks who said, let's do the 5K run. So the Historical Society's approach is, okay, that's your thing, you do it.
Okay.
Because they're, the number of regular workers that we have, we're going to be this tall by the time this thing is ready to go as it is. So we're trying to, sort of farm out the responsibility. So if Jen Dumas, for example, in the rec department are willing to take care of games and contests for adults and kids alike, that's her thing. And same thing, EDC, if they do the 5K run, and kind of go from there, and then we'll have our piece someplace in the middle and fill in the blanks.
And just,
But
runners will pay to run.
Yeah.
You get a few dollars for the historical society sponsors the run, so to speak.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
If there's any way that we can turn some profit on this in terms of fundraising, that's all to the good, because Lord knows we need to do that. Yes.
Always my whole life I've wanted to set up a 200-foot tarp on that hill and do a slip and slide.
Did you just volunteer? Because I have paper here, I can write that down.
You can write me down for the slip and slide.
First one down.
Yeah.
Make sure it works.
Well, I have sledded, if you're talking about the one on parallel 111,
Yeah.
I've sledded down that. And there is a point where you can't see any land in front of you because it drops off so dramatically. And you will end up in the brook, but it's a fun.
We're okay with that.
It's a fun, well, except for the shrubs. It's a fun hill, yep,
Yeah, I can imagine.
yes.
Sorry, no more interruptions.
Yeah. Good idea. Okay, anything else on that?
Just make my pitch, I have Little League calendars. If anybody would like to support the Rundle Little League, this is for a June raffle, and so they're closing out the sales at the end of this week.
$5?
They're $10.
$10?
Yeah, they have very good prizes too, so. And they're not competing with the Rundle Historical Society that's ending in May, so.
This is good.
Okay. Minutes of May 13th.
So were the minutes sent to us? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, in a separate email.
From-
Simone
I
said
got
I
it.
had an
From you.
out-of-office reply on
Okay,
this.
so you don't have, because you should add my home email along.
Oh, okay, I got an out-of-office reply to yours.
That's why I don't have it.
Here, Dan.
Here.
Oh, you got some stuff? Yeah, I sent them to both.
Yeah.
I think these are the last ones.
That was in here.
Oh,
So they look Fine to you, huh?
That,
I said, so they must look fine to you.
yeah, that's fine, yeah, that's no problem.
Last week, I didn't see anything on there.
I didn't see anything that needs correction, although we approve as submitted.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Okay.
Okay, committee and board reports.
Municipal referendum elections are June 11th, 2013, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Arundel Fire Station. Open town meeting will be held on June 12th, 2013, at 7 p.m. in the ML Day School Gymnasium.
Quick.
Yes, and I've got one additional that came to my attention today. Thursday, June 6th at 5 p.m. at Kennebuck Elementary School, there will be an ML Day School Facilities Meeting. So I'll be attending that and welcome you all to join me.
June 6th
June 6th, yes,
at KES.
at KES at 5 p.m. I'll forward the email to you tomorrow. It came in late this afternoon.
Okay. See if my June calendar looks as bad as my May calendar did. Okay. And, yes,
Along those lines, have you gotten, I know you've been out of the office for a while, as far as no information on our old files that,
I haven't heard back from Andrew yet on that, no.
I did talk to Andrew, I was at the last meeting last week.
Yeah.
At the RSU meeting, and I had mentioned about the 18 inches that it sunk, and, he says that there's a pretty good sized gap over there, you can put your hand right inside. I said, geez, 18 inches seems like an awful lot, but there's nothing on the roof. Oh, no, there's a pretty big sized gap between the two wings, you can put your hand right inside.
Right where they come together,
Really? I hadn't realized that. Wow.
it's like your fingers right
so why hasn't it affected the roof?
Sliding your fingers in. I still have a hard time to grapple with an 18-inch settlement. You walk out our door entrances, none of them have moved. You look out the windows, you're not looking down over the hill. And the roof hasn't moved. I'm having a hard time with that.
and it is.
I need some explanation on how that can settle 18 inches without tearing something apart.
without something with it,
I'll bring
I
that up.
understand the foundation open, put your finger in there, yeah.
Because it's cinder block, it is cinder block down here, while the other section is wood, but that, and cinder blocks don't always stay together.
Cinder blocks can't settle without cracking apart.
somewhere.
It just can't. A cinder block wall, unless they're rubberized.
I'll bring it up
Well,
at the next
like
meeting.
Phil said, the
Stretchy
roof
cinder
too,
block.
you see nothing on the roof.
Those are the stretchy things.
Yeah, there you go, okay.
They're having this meeting on
I just
state
have a hard
gas.
time to
Yeah,
understand.
I'll show you the gap out
Yeah, stuff that we do, we see a lot of settlement here and there.
there. I think 18 inches would be going downhill.
18
down
inches
there.
is big time.
I feel like we're on a ship that's going down,
Either they built it up in the air, they finally settled down to it.
Yeah, the door entrances.
The stairs windows are still intact.
How do you move
Yeah,
it
we're missing something.
that much without something else moving with it?
Right.
That's what I need some information from the folks that supposedly a little smarter than me.
I'll try to get an update for you on that.
Don't put the high road in.
Yeah. Selectmen review and sign the town meeting warrant for June 11th and 12th.
So moved.
Did we put, okay, motion's been made and seconded, did we change that article, where is it?
20, what was it, 20 to 20?
Yes, the revenue article,
20 and 21 was changed,
Yeah, okay, yes.
and the revenue article was changed, and all the cross-references were changed. Hopefully we didn't miss anything like I did last year.
Okay, that's 20.
20, and then
21,
is
yeah,
350.
350, yeah.
And then we changed the revenue to the higher amount of the 1598,671, and the 310,000 rather on the fund balance. referenced Article 22 because that bumped the other articles because of 20 to 21.
Okay.
So we changed that.
Okay, so the numbers, you've all double checked all the numbers and they work?
I think every set of eyes at town hall's gone over it. The last few hours, someone come in my office and find something else, and she go back and change it, and we
Yeah.
find something else. Then the pages weren't laying out
Yeah,
right.
and then it was the first one said Article 2 to 45, which was last year, so we're like, there's only 38 articles this year, and
We'll do that this year.
then the interest article has to get bumped to repeat after the article that you set the tax due dates on, and,
How does it look in the town report book?
the same. We got
Yep.
You got it.
Well,
Yep. Okay. Then a motion's been made and seconded, all in favor? There we go. Oh my word, how many do we have to sign?
Just one. Oh, no, yeah, three.
I haven't signed the originals that I posted,
Yeah, there were 3 or 4.
five.
Don't make another copy.
Yeah. That's it. There we go. All right. Selectmen sign formal letter of request to the United States Postal Service to begin zip code review.
This is the letter that was discussed at the last meeting after finding the process. We need the Board of Selectmen as the governing body of the town of Arundel to request that Postal Service do a formal review to see if our boundary can be changed. Zip code boundary, not our physical boundary.
So moved. Second.
That's just something to look at. That's just your, that's the packet we're going to get.
Oh. I haven't gotten any bad feedback from the community.
This is the original.
Well, we got a couple I've got a couple of people who aren't really thrilled about it, but the rest of it, I mean, literally 2 residents that expressed discontent. But other than that, it's all been positive feedback.
Most people are accepting.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, a second?
We do.
All ready? All in favor? And I have the original right here. There we go.
Sign
Okay, you can sign that one. Inform the selectmen of state of Maine portion of Winter Storm Nemo proposed funding.
And I apologize, I thought I put this in the packet. To date, it looks like FEMA will be reimbursing the town $22,000, and the state of Maine will be reimbursing the town $4,100 and some odd dollars for Winter Storm Nemo. So that'll replenish the Natural Disaster Reserve Fund, and we'll be prepared for the next natural disaster that comes our way. So we'll get about 28,000, 26 and change for plowing snow on February 8th and 9th.
Is that somehow reflected in the public works
That-
line item?
Yes, at the last meeting, we transferred 10,000 out of the natural disaster to cover the overtime and some of the supplies that were used for that storm, so that we can reimburse them. They were running short on funds, and so then when that gets replenished by the fund, we'll decide how to disseminate those funds at that point in time.
It's good to look at.
Yes.
Okay. Inform the selectmen of IT network infrastructure assessment for the town of Arundel.
I give you a copy of the proposal from SimQuest, who's the company that's been the most professional in dealing with this. Over the past year, we've had a number of IT issues from our wireless routers not working, too much traffic, nothing could communicate. We had a period of time when no one could print to the copier. The server's getting a little older. Everybody's running different versions of that, all the proprietary software that we have. And so what SimQuest, if they're chosen, I should be getting a quote from System Architecture tomorrow. But what they'll do is they're going to go through and diagnose every single PC, every single printer, every single, anything IT related in the town hall. They're going to diagnose the systems that are on them and make recommendations, prioritizing them by security issues. Once those are prioritized, we can either use that assessment to go out to RFP for an infrastructure upgrade, or we can work with SimQuest or System Architects to phase a plan so that things, we can avoid any catastrophic failures. Right now, we don't have the ability, other than on your regular computer, to save emails to the server, to the hard drive. We want to look at all of the antivirus, all of the firewalls, all of the spam guards, to make sure that there's no vulnerabilities where somebody could hack into our system and get information. And so I'm not qualified to do that, but one of these firms is going to go through every individual PC, laptop, anything that anybody uses for IT in town hall. They'll go through what the system is, what the firewalls are, what the security, what the spam, everything that goes into that computer, and then make recommendations of where our weakest points are and how we can phase in a plan to be able to address the issues, but plan for the future in the event that I made it very clear to them that I'm hoping that within the next 2 years we could have a new town hall, and that everything needs to be portable. Things are starting to go with off-site backup, backing up to the cloud, rather than buying an $11,000 or $12,000 server to just do town hall. We can contract for a monthly fee to a service that has backup in Boulder, Colorado. They've got backup in Arizona. They've got backup in Canada, so that there's a lot of redundancy built in there. Right now, we do a flash drive of our server, but in the event that, God forbid, town hall were to burn to the ground, we can't guarantee that we could bring ourselves back up to where we were. And so we're trying to prevent the loss of that data so that we can move forward in the event of something happening. So I would recommend, obviously, I placed it on the agenda, but I think it would be very important to spend that $1,200 to have that survey done. And that'll give us a roadmap of how to prevent problems and move forward.
Presently, all of the computers are not using the same software for security.
That's correct. We found that they're not all using the same security hardware, but also Simone's running a different version of PDF than I am, that Tad is, and so when creating documents, you always get Simone's that said created by PDF Factory, and so we're not all running on the same level. Some of us have Windows 2003, some of us have Windows 2007, some of us have XP, and we want to prevent the issues that we have at times in communicating back and forth, sending emails to people who can't read them because you put it in the wrong format, and all that sort of stuff. But McAfee is the majority of the systems, and that's what's the threat protection is McAfee for the most part. But I want to bring everything in line so that we're prepared to expand, and we're prepared to prevent any issues.
Besides you, does Tad, he's the only one I would think that may have a personal computer that's interfaces a lot with the town stuff? Is that something that will be part of your system, will be part of the whole system as well?
Absolutely. In the future, ideally, I would like to be able to, if I go on vacation, I'd like to be able to log into the server to do something if I had to. And right now, I don't have that capability. I can bring my laptop home, but my emails won't send unless I go through the webmail for a Roadrunner. So I'd like to have the ability for certain individuals to be able to do that. If Tad's drafting ordinances and he wants to work from home, I would like to give him that opportunity if he can log into the server and save everything properly without worrying about losing all the work he's done. And so, and at this point, we don't have that.
How much is left in the account that this is coming from?
There's approximately $2,000 left in that account. And so this would take care of that, and then moving into next year, there's money in there for IT upgrades that we can do some of the phasing to be able to. And as I was very clear to everybody I met with, that this needs to be portable. I don't want you coming in here and telling us we need Cat 5 from here to there. I want to be able to run with what we have, make it efficient, make it functional, and make it portable so that in the event we do gain approval for a new town hall, we're not buying all new. I don't want to buy everything at once. I told them phasing things out and phasing things in is very important for the town.
And there's no doubt, recommendation that there's gonna be some cost,
Oh, absolutely.
And this stuff isn't cheap, so.
Yeah. And so that's why I've asked them to prioritize it and do it in such a fashion that we address the biggest issues first and then move forward with, the minor issues, the things that really don't need to be taken care of, or, you could do this if you wanted to, those sort of things, so they can prioritize that. I don't want to just throw money at, nothing, not knowing what our issue is.
Any other questions? Comment? We need a motion on this?
We could have a motion if you'd like.
I thought you said
This-
we did another.
Yeah, I got it. You can give me a motion to choose. It's within my spending capability, so I don't need the authority of the Board of Selectmen. I just wanted you to be aware. And if you want to see a copy, I was told that I have to give this back, but this is one of the technical assessments they did for a firm locally, actually for a town. And if you want to look over, it'll show you what they'll provide us and how it works. But yes, it's it's under the $5,000 limit, so I just wanted to inform you that that was something in case there were any objections to just doing the study and getting the report.
Okay, so we don't need a motion on that, we have the information. Distribution of Greg Copeland's letter of resignation from the planning board.
We finally received that again. Have you heard back from Jamie?
I talked to him today, and I suspect that the answer is no, because he didn't come.
Okay.
And I wanted to, we sit pretty much right next to each other, and I got so busy I forgot to ask.
Understandable. If you think of it in the morning, could you just ask me to make sure that that's cleared? Because I've got 2 other people that I've approached.
Okay.
One of them may be interested, and if not, then I have to start looking elsewhere.
Yeah, I'll ask him in the morning.
Thank you.
Let's go to review and sign the AP and payroll warrants.
Yes.
We have a motion.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? And before we go into executive session, update the selectmen on the camper trailer ordinance drafting and enforcement action.
Tad is working on a redraft of the Old Orchard ordinance. The Old Orchard ordinance was more geared toward commercial campgrounds, so he's going to kind of dumb that one, not dumb it down, but make it more residentially appropriate. I had instructed him that we're not looking to, limit people to 21 days and charge them $100 building fee. We don't want building getting into, this day-to-day kind of thing. But in the event that somebody is abusing it, they have a camper there and it's been there 6 months and people are living in it, then the resident will have the ability to file a complaint with the code enforcement office so that we can move forward and take care of the issue. Jim was out of the office Monday and Tuesday of last week. I was out Thursday and Friday. We briefly discussed the disposal of sewage on the surface of the ground. He was gonna go out, do a visual assessment to see if there's anything he could see there, and from there, he was going to contact Brent McCarthy through the state to have him come down and take a look with us. We didn't get to do that today because Howard Cohn's back in town again, so I was pretty busy running around with him all day and meeting with him. So I expect Howard leaves tomorrow afternoon. I'm hoping once Howard leaves, I can catch up with Jim and see where he's been, if he's been able to get out there and determine if that's actually been happening. We can't get a written complaint from the complainant, so it makes it a little bit more difficult, but Jim's gonna do what he can to make that happen.
Okay.
Jim,
Yep.
do we really need to draft an ordinance for one camper trailer? I think we regulate, and we regulate, and we regulate, then we ask people to come into our town and pay taxes, and we regulate some more. We have never had a complaint. This is the only one that I've ever heard of. And there's a 50-50 chance we won't get another one after this is settled. Do we really need to keep adding regulation? That's my question.
Yep, that's a question for the board, I think. I will agree with you, it's the first that I've heard. I've only been here for 2 years, but Jim did admit that if there was an ordinance in place, this wouldn't be an issue any longer. But that's, completely up to the board to direct me to do that. We're going to draft something I can at least bring to you. And if we decide to move forward with it, we move forward with it. And if not, hopefully we can take care of the issue some other way.
Well, Jim, have you heard that Jim indicated that most communities have something like this? I guess I kind of Bill.
Not most communities. The communities you're going to see that have them are Old Orchard, Rockland, Booth Bay, the towns that have campgrounds in town. And that's where a lot of the issues come from, is some towns have the problem of the guy next door to the campground renting out a piece of land and letting people camp there. But there's not an overwhelming majority. I think I got responses from 3 or 4 town managers in the state that have such an ordinance.
What about people or towns that have lakes, have waterfront properties? Do they have conditions of how long you can stay?
I think most of them apply the floodplain regulations and the shoreline zone regulations to their campers, so it would be 180 days continuous, and then it has to be gone. It can't be hard plumbed, it has to be flexible piping, it has to be an electrical outlet, it can't be hardwired, it has to be an extension cord that plugs in and things like that. But most of them, from what I saw, like I said, the 3 communities I heard from weren't even lakefront communities. They were just communities that had had an issue in the past and wanted to address it. But I think the majority of the lakefront shoreland, they all go with the overlay zone and rules in that zone.
Well, I think that by starting to address it with the sewerage issue, if that is the case of what's happening and that can be taken care of, then I think the state will make this a non-issue. So we don't have to worry about
I
it.
think this is not a shit, but just this what we know about. The others, I'm sure we don't know about.
Right.
Nobody's complaining about. We need to decide whether that's an appropriate regulation or not, at least for me. And, I appreciate Phil's comment, but, this wouldn't be a problem if we had an ordinance. We could deal with it. Now that we know that's an issue, I'm in favor of putting something in place. If it isn't an issue, it's not going to bother anybody.
But it's a case of without the ordinance, yes, we only have one complaint,
Yeah.
but without the ordinance, anyone could move camper trailer in on their property.
And usually in a situation where it's not specified in ordinance, you can usually jump over to MRS 17B, which is miscellaneous nuisances, and somewhere in there there's something that will address it, but this is one that either nobody deals with, or it's just been, ignored or dealt with.
And you don't want to take nuisance as nuisance is, it's like pornography, when you see it, one of those types of things. But, to say that's a nuisance, it is to some, but it's not to others. So you need definition, you need objectivity. That's the only way you can enforce it.
If I had a piece of property and I had a camping trailer, but I had a porta potty,
Yeah.
and part of this is the public health issue as well, from what I understand.
Or
I-
or do we not have? Well, even better, with porta potty, you have no waste going to the ground at all.
Yeah. Codes can deal with the health issues without an ordinance.
Yeah.
I talked with Jim, and he definitely feels he can deal with the health issues
Absolutely.
with or without an ordinance. But I guess this one particular case is the person that's sleeping in the camper, apparently, or allegedly, I guess, would say, sleeping in the camper, doesn't get along very well with his parents, and if you throw him out of the camper, where's he gonna end up?
Is part of the problem, this is considered a second residence on the same lot?
No, well, I mean, yeah, it is, but that's the problem, is our building codes don't address occupancy of anything but a structure, and so that falls between the cracks. Yeah, technically it is a second, and one of the I don't remember where it was from, the one that I had provided at the last meeting, they actually specified if you have an acre of land, you can have 3 campers that'll come visit, you know, and it gave you, because of that, residences on property. So, you know, that's what we're up against.
We're trying, at least from my perspective, we want to see that these don't turn into residences. I don't have a problem with people, you know, for a limited period of time having camp around the property for the summer months, but, you know, to set up essentially another residential dwelling, you know, with a
They've been
power
there
cord
for quite a
running
while.
through, and they got a porta potty or something like that. I just don't think that's appropriate. I mean, there's not even, you don't even need a permit for that. So you got 2 residents on an undersized lot.
So, Tad, drafting something, I hope to have it to you by the next meeting. It's gonna be kind of an awkward meeting because it's right before town meeting, but I'll try to get that to you by June 10th so that we have at least something to look at.
And by then, we should know if there's a health issue, if it's being addressed.
And the only reason we bring the state in is because they don't play around with those games. They make it happen right away where we have to, you know, cite one violation, take them to court. I've had pretty good luck, and I know Jim has too, with the Department of Health and Human Services, where they take that pretty seriously. And
What are they gonna do?
they-
Say stop?
No, they cite them, they have the authority to cite them even higher fines than we do. And they usually come right out both barrels, saying, here you go, you come back tomorrow, it's $2,500 or whatever it is. And Brent is just a wealth of knowledge as to, because he's been through all of these, he's had these situations from here to Fort Camp. And so I've worked with him in the past, I know Jim has too.
How's he gonna know when they stop?
We'll have to have the resident next door let him know.
That's what he's going.
He said, she
He's
said.
going down to Fort Kent, and he can't be here at a moment's notice.
But if he can help Jim to determine that that's in fact what's happening, then from that point, we can determine whether or not it's continuing to happen. Those are our campus.
Okay. Executive session, anything before we go into executive session, any other business?
I don't believe so.
Executive session pursuant to 1 MRS 405.6 to discuss a personnel matter.
Motion and move into
Executive session at 7:40.
7:40.
Oh, do we have a second? Yeah. All in favor? Oh, okay.
Everybody's gonna leave, we can just stay here.